Thank you so much, Dr. Umar. I'm extremely happy to present today to this well-organized vascular surgery community, Sudanese Sudavas community. Inshallah, this will be a first lecture in a series of lectures on research. We'll be covering different aspects of research from idea to publication. In this lecture, inshallah, we'll be talking about research ethics and integrity. In this talk, inshallah, I will be shedding some light into definitions, and I will give you some clue about what is research and what is research ethics and why they are important, and why obtaining an ethical clearance is of paramount importance before starting any research study, and what are the key ethical issues that any researcher must know, and what are the common type of misconducts, and how to combat these kind of misconducts. And before concluding the talk, I will give some overview about one of the most important issues, which is the predatory publications and predatory conferences. And if we have time, I will talk about the ethical use of AI in scientific writing. So we are going to start by a definition of what is research and why it's important. Research is an active systemic process of gathering, documenting, analyzing, and interpreting information in order to produce knowledge or to expand existing knowledge, in order to confirm or to refute some facts. It follows a methodology, and that is the most appropriate and feasible to achieve the goals of the study, of any given study. And the research is of great importance. As you know, scientific research is an important element in addressing different challenges facing the our communities. And prioritizing research has become an indicator for nations' economical prosperity. And it's important not only in its importance not only restricted to building capabilities and promoting further research, but also in establishing knowledge-based economies and economic growth. So, and research is a cyclic process. Whenever you conclude a study, it's kind of trigger an idea for another or a new study. So what are what is research ethics? The most simple definition is for research ethics is the norms for conduct that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable, between right and wrong behaviors. However, although this definition is right and correct, but we can give it some emphasis and can be structured. We can say research ethics is a discipline that study standard of conduct. And so what's the difference between morals and ethics? Because people use them interchangeably. Moral defines right and wrong in a way that may not be rational. However, ethics is the rational way of deciding whether something is good or for society or bad. And it can also be defined as a way of choosing between different competing morals. This is ethics is the way to choose between different competing moral principles or when there is not a clear right and wrong answer.
Hi guys, today we're playing cheat together.
Ethics helps not only to distinguish between right and wrong, but also in knowing why and the grounds of why and what, to judge our decisions and to justify our decisions. Research ethics is of great importance because it's sort of respect to those to the subject who agreed to be part of any study, to the subject or participant to be part in any given study. We have to have an ethical clearance. Also, it assures that we avoid unnecessary and unsafe procedures to be used by the research team. Also, it assures that the team members, the researchers in a given team, have an experience in the subject matter of the given study. Obtaining an ethical clearance before starting any study is of great importance. And in any respectful institution, there is an ethical committee, or we call it in the UK and Ireland ethical committees, and in West Europe. However, in the North America, we call it Institution Review Board, IRB committees, and they granting ethical clearance for any study to before getting started. Execution of the study. The IRB committee, usually chaired by experienced and knowledgeable experts in the field and the members from different disciplines. These committees receives application from principal investigators and make sure that the rationale for the study is convincing and the procedures are safe and the sample collection and preservation methods are viable. And any type of study needs an ethical clearance. I can say any kind of study, whether it is on human subjects or human products, on animals, or the studies that has impact on human, like psychiatric and psychological studies or marketing studies or whatsoever, they have to have ethical clearance. Yani any kind of study, research study, needs an ethical clearance before you get started. There are three types or three categories for approvals. The first and the most simple is an exempt status application, where there is very minimal or there is no risk. And this is usually that study is conducted via questionnaire or survey, and there is no risk on the participants. And second type is or category is expedite application, where there is very minimal risk, like having some extractions of some blood sample, or taking mouth swab or vaginal swab or whatsoever, which has a very minimal risk on the participants. And these two types, the exempt status and the expedite applications, the approval here can be granted by the chairperson of the committee or a subcommittee. And the third category, which is a full IRB application, this is usually for clinical trials where there is new intervention or new medication to be used or new devices to be used. And in this case, all the members of the committee, the decision has to be with a consensus with agree of all the members of the committee. If anyone objected, then the decision will not be granted. The ethical clearance will not be granted. So any type of study, as I've mentioned, needs an ethical clearance before you get started. And there are some principles of ethics we have to learn and we have to memorize when we wanted to conduct any research study. The first and the most important is a person's autonomy, which we call it the principle of human dignity. And you have to keep the data of the participants in discretion, and you have to you do not have to disclose any information to or report the findings on individual basis. The second is to bring about benefit for the participants and the biggest community by conducting such research studies. An obligation to bring about good in all actions and deeds, and to prevent harm, and to be justice, to treat all people equally, fairly, and impartially, and to avoid harming, causing any harm to the participant or to the community, to the wider community, and to be honest in all the steps of the research process. So there are some key ethical issues that any researcher must know. The first and the most important is informed consent, and inshallah there will be a separate talk on informed consent by colleague Isam Fayyad will be giving a lecture inshallah in the very due course inshallah about this very important issue, how to develop informed consent. And the second is misconducts. We have to know about it in order to avoid falling on them. And the third is the confidentiality and discretion to keep the data of the participants in any study in very confidential and in discretion, and to know the safety and risk issues, and to know that the participant have the right to withdraw whenever they decided to withdraw from any study. The first, the informed consent, as I've mentioned, my colleague Assam is going to talk about it. However, I am going to give you some clues about that. There are four elements for this principle. The first and the most important that the subjects or the participant in any given study has to be made fully aware of the nature and the purpose of the research study, and to give that in a very plain, simple language, and to know that the consent is voluntary, given. You don't have to force anyone to sign or to be part of any study. And the person, to make sure that the persons or the participant have the legal capacity to give the consent. If not, if they don't have the legal capacity, their guardians or their parents, they can sign the consent on their behalf. And the fourth and the last and the most important is that we have to know that the responsibility of obtaining the consent rests on the researcher, on the principal investigator himself or herself. And you have to know that you have to make sure that the informed consent should indicate how researchers are going to protect the confidentiality of the participants. You have to tell them how are you going to keep the data that can be generated from any research study. The second element, key principle, is confidentiality. And confidentiality here refers to linking information to a person's identity, whether it is a date of birth, name, or family name, or the file number. You have to omit all this data, and you have to make sure that everything is taken, obtaining anonymous information, and you have to make sure that you coded the data before you start analyzing it, by deleting identifiers, and do not have to release or to report individual data, just report it as a group data, and limit the access to the data itself. And if you have a team, the only person who can see everything is the principal investigator, and the rest of the group, and he can report to them whatever he found anonymously and without identifiers, and report data only in group form, and you need to use computerized methods for encryption of the data. So now we know what is research and what are the what is research ethics, and what is the difference between research ethics and morals, and what are the key ethical issues. So we will go to what is research integrity, which is the main issue of our lecture today. Which the research integrity is the expectation that the researchers or the principal investigators and the team are abiding to professional standards essential for responsible practice of research. With this includes honesty, includes collaboration, includes commitment, includes respect of people who agree to be part of the any given study, and it involves commitment to intellectual honesty and to personal responsibility for one's actions and deeds, to a range of practices that characterize responsible research conduct. And there are some elements we have to make sure that we know all of them. For responsible research conduct, first and the most important element is the element of professionalism. We have to be very professional while we are doing research, and we have to know about the intellectual honesty to abide to it, and we have to have to be critical thinkers while we are doing or conducting our research studies, and we have to be very collaborative and open when we're doing a study. And in the Western communities, maybe most of you are in Western medical settings, you know that how people are very keen and very eager to collaborate with each other. And they don't know you, and you ask them about something by sending them an email, they will get back to you and give you whatever can help in conducting your own study. And we have to be very responsible in everything, and we have to be self-disciplined and self-regulation is a must for a researcher in order to produce or to generate knowledge. You have to be very fussy and very meticulous in all the steps of conducting your study or reporting them. We know now we know what is a good conduct and what is research integrity. We wanted to know what are the misconducts in presenting and research outcomes. And before we jump to that, we have to know why, as medics, as medical researchers, we wanted to publish and disseminate our research findings. For why do we want to publish them, and why do we want to share our findings with others? First, and the most important, that we wanted to share knowledge with the wider scientific community in order to be part of knowledge generating, producing knowledge instead of being just knowledge consumers. Also, we wanted to advance our research, our career opportunities whenever we want to get promoted for a higher rank. The people would wanted to see some evidence of productivity, and one of the most sensitive criteria in that is the number of publications and the quality of the publications. Also, if you are part of academic setting or in a teaching hospital or affiliated to one of universities, one of the most important criteria for promotion is having number of publications, and also as a good citizen in our own communities, we would want it to influence the healthcare policies, and this cannot be done without evidence, and the evidence can only be generated from research studies. Also, we wanted to promote evidence-based medicine, and we wanted to promote further research studies. As I've mentioned earlier, research is a cyclic process. Whenever you conclude a study, it kind of trigger the idea for new study. Where shall we communicate our research findings? We are having now our research concluded, and we got some research findings. Where shall we report them, and where shall we communicate them? Researchers usually should select an appropriate peer-reviewed journal to publish their research findings for many reasons. The first and the most important, that in the peer review publications, there is usually the editorial board of the journal. Whenever they received a submission from any principal investigator or any researcher, they first screen it and see if it falls within the scope of the journal or not. And if it falls with the scope of the journal, it can abide to the format that the journal follows. They will send it to peer reviewers, and the reviewers here are usually experts in the field, and they check the validity of the methods and the results and the interpretation of the results and the method of analysis of the results itself. And this is a kind of a quality assurance process It prevents publication of falsified or fabricated information. And also, that's why peer review publications are considered as a golden standard of communicating research findings, because it went through meticulous peer review process or critical appraisal. Usually, when we have our research findings, we wanted to publish them. We have to be very careful when selecting a journal for publication, and the selection of the appropriate journal involves consideration of several factors, includes the journal topic and the journal scope. For instance, if you are all vascular surgeons, and if you have any study in any aneurysm or whatsoever of the cases that you have seen or you're seeing frequently and you're doing a study on that, you cannot publish them in OB/GYN or community medicine journal or geriatrics journal. So you have to go to be very specific, and you have to know the communities that you wanted them to see your work and to benefit from it. You have to see the topic and the scope of the journal first. And the second is to see the journal respect among researchers. And here the journals are like human beings. They have reputation. Some journals, everyone would want it to publish on them. And if, as physician, you publish in Lancet or New England Medical Journal, you would be like a cat with two tails. And if you publish in Nature or Science or Blood, these journals with high impact factor exceeding 50, the impact factor exceeding 50, and everyone would love to publish on them, and the level of dissemination is very high, and it can be accessible to many researchers, so they can be cite from it, and the citation increase metrics, your metrics as a researcher, and everyone wanted to have his H index high, and would want it to publish in a journal with high impact factor. So as I've mentioned, we know the research, the good conducts, and we wanted to know the misconducts. And here I recall a hadith where Sayyidina Huzaifa ibn al-Yaman, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the companions used to ask the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the righteous deeds, and I used to ask him about the wrong deeds in order to avoid falling on them. And we have to know what are the wrong and what are the misconducts, and how to avoid falling on them. And here I'm enumerating some types of misconducts, and I'm going to elaborate in each one of these type of misconducts. The first and the most common is plagiarism and fabrication and falsification, non-publication, and ghostwriters, or what we call it contract cheating, honorary or guest authorship, faulty gathering procedures, or complicity. And I'm going to talk about each of these types of misconducts in details. So this, we know now these types of misconducts, and they can be the research misconducts, including fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, non-publication, in proposing, performing, reviewing, or in reporting research results. It does not include difference of opinion and honest errors. And there are some honest errors. Everyone can commit them. Like if you are, for instance, if you're gathering some numbers, for instance, instead of writing 12, you wrote 21, and this is happens only one. It might not affect the entire result of the study, of a given study. And also the difference in opinion. Some people, there is you have your own input in any research study, in interpretation of results and in presenting them. We are this human part of our human nature. We see things from different angles. So if you are writing something, and this is not مثلا written by, if something is written by Dr. Omar Abdel Qadir, and this interpretation is not preferred by Dr. Awuda, or he doesn't like it, still it is an opinion, and we are not going to one single publication is not going to change the practice. One of the very common misconducts is fabrication, which implies inventing data or results and reporting to them to the scientific community as if they are real. The second is falsification, which is altering some research findings by omitting some of them. Both practices question the credibility of everyone and everything involved in a given research study. And here, it worth mentioning that in the past couple of decades, there were some incidents, unfortunate incidents. The first was the research which was published in Nature, which have said one of the most prestigious journals. Everyone would love to publish on it. And there was a research published by a Japanese scientist. Her name is Haruko Fukata. She published a paper on stem cells, and this paper was published, and a lot of people tried to follow her procedure and method. Some people, some researchers said that we tried to follow every step she mentioned in the methodology part, but we did not get the same results. Here, one of the students in her lab came out and he said, well, I have to convince this lady fabricated everything, and her name was everywhere in the tabloids and in the Guardians. Now this picture is I just take it from the Guardians. She was fired from her job and she was stripped from her degree, PhD degree. She was fired from her job, and that was a big scandal. The other type of misconduct is recently, before we move, recently I've heard maybe in August, the dean for business school in Harvard was fired because she was also falsified some data in one of her publications. She was forced to resign and leave, to step down from her deanship and from her academic position. Non-publication. Here, some people say when they read non-publication, they perceive it as if not to publish anything. But here it's meant that not publishing the findings or part of information that is not supporting the hypothesis or the notion of the study. Some researchers do omit odd or non-significant findings. I just wanted to say whatever findings you got, if you are sure of the method of your gathering the information is correct, the method is correct and reproducible, then just publish it. Non-significant and significant are equally important. And nowadays, there are some journals for negative results in order to encourage people not to omit or not to publish. They can publish in journals of negative results. Sometimes, يعني جماعة, the odd results or freak results are the most important results that you get out of your any of your study. And a lot of discoveries were incidental findings of some research studies. And in the medication, for instance, the sildenafil was primarily used for hypertension, and it was found it has another use for potency and for impotent people and for erectile dysfunction. The third type of misconduct is plagiarism, which is a very common type of misconducts. And the word plagiarism itself goes back to the Greek time, 2,000 years before the Christ Church. Was said by one of the Greek poet, a poem. He was writing, some of the Greek artist was writing a poem, and when he could take his poem, and he said, "My child was for القصيدة بتاعته." He said, "My child was kidnapped, plagiarized," and the word plagiarism came from there. Some people accused the internet era of this kind of practices, but it goes back to 2,000 years before the Christ birth. And it implies discrediting others by stealing their ideas, copying their work, and getting undeservedly credit. And there are several incidents in the past, in the history, several scandals for plagiarism. The most biggest scandal was that Martin Luther King Jr. is the national hero in the United States of America, and one of PhD students in 1994, he was doing a review article on Martin Luther King publications, and he went back to his PhD dissertation, and unfortunately he found that Martin Luther King was plagiarizing most of his PhD, although at that time he was dead, and he published that Martin Luther was plagiarizing his part of dissertation. Also, one of the most common scandals was for the German defense minister, who was forced to resign as they found that he plagiarized most of his PhD dissertation. One of the journalists, he discovered that, and he went to Angela Merkel. He approached Angela Merkel, and he told her that your defense minister of defense plagiarized part of his PhD. She said she was very rude to that journalist. She said he's doing great as a minister of defense, and I'm not going to appoint him as a professor in a university. He said, well, how can we trust someone who is plagiarizing his dissertation or on the nation's security? And he was, and this journalist went and take that to the press, and the minister was forced to step down from his ministerial cabinet and was stripped from his PhD dissertation, from his PhD title. So this is, now we know plagiarism. Plagiarism itself is not one type. There are several subtypes of plagiarism. The most common is the intentional plagiarism, and I'm going to talk about it. And unintentional plagiarism, one might ask, how come plagiarism can be unintentional? And self-plagiarism, or salamist licensing, or honorary or guest authorship and paying for work. And I'm going to talk about each of these subcategories. Intentional plagiarism is copying word by word when someone claims to be an author for a work that is known to be originally written completely or partially by someone else. This is frank plagiarism, and just because copying without giving credit. Unintentional plagiarism, like for instance, if Mr. Ayman published an article in 2007, and in 2015 and 2015, Mr. Awuda quoted from the publication of Mr. Ayman, and he gave Ayman the credit of publishing that in his publication, and he cited properly, and he gave a proper citation. In 2025, Mr. Umar came and wanted to publish, he quoted whatever primarily was written by Ayman, and he gives the credit to Mr. Awuda instead of just giving the credit to the original source of information. He gives the credit to the secondary source of information, and this is, we call it unintentional plagiarism, or because improper citation, or giving the credit to another author. Self-plagiarism is a practice of recycling one's ideas or portion of published data. For instance, Muaawia, I published on glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase in 2007, and I published in glucose 6-phosphate in 2008 and up to 25. Until last week, I published an article on glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. If I'm taking any paragraph from my first publication or for any publication, I'm just moving to my new publications, this is kind of self-plagiarism, and it is not acceptable at all, and it's considered as plagiarism. And if you just put your article in, if you submit your article, your manuscript to any journal, the editorial board will check it using one of the similarity detection tools or algorithm, and they will find that you steal from your own self. So that's why self-plagiarism is not acceptable. If you want to report from your own past publication, you have to quote it as if it is another person's publication. One of the bad practices is salami slicing. Here, some people, when they conduct their research studies and they get fleshy results, they would want it to publish several small papers out of that results. And this is a very bad practice because it belittles the significance of the research. Also, it might create some confusion by scattered conclusions because the study sample, study population are the same population. You have to publish whatever you get in one big publication in a good journal. There are some scientists, they can see that there are some cases where salami slicing is acceptable. For instance, if they are developing guidelines for treatment of different genders, for male and female, there is difference. You can, for instance, publish the female one's results in one publication and the male in another publication. It depends on the conditions of publication. Also, there is another kind of misconduct, a type of misconduct, which is honorary authorship or guest authorship. And it is very common in the part of the world where myself and Mr. Omar are living now. Some people, they just want their names in the publication, in the author list, without having any intellectual contribution in the results. In the given study, scientific or research study, they just want to put their names in order to get promoted or to get increase the number of their publications. It's very common, and some people, they just want to be there without any significant intellectual contribution. And this is take me to who are supposed to be in the author list in any publication. Those who have intellectual contribution. If there is a technician help out in analysis or a statistician help out in statistical analysis, you can compensate them financially, but not to put them in the author list. The authors supposed to have intellectual contribution. One of the bad practices, which is not common in here in this part of the world, in the Gulf states or in North Africa, but it's very common in Europe and in North America and in Australia, which we call it contract cheating or ghost writers. This is in contrast to honorary authorship or ghost authorship. The ghost writer is a person who provides significant assistance, but they don't want their name to be there in the author list. They might do that for in exchange for some money or relationship. They might be parents, friends, or whatsoever. And this is a very bad practice. Unfortunately, I've read a couple of articles on that. In one of the articles was written by Professor Tracy Pritag from Australia, from Monash University. She did a research study on a big cohort, 14,000 postgraduate students from Australian universities, and she found out that 15% of the students were using these kind of services of contract cheaters or ghost writers. There are companies doing that. And in the UK also, there is Thomas Lancaster. He did several research studies on that issue. And I myself and my colleagues here in King Fahd Medical City, we conducted a research study to explore the knowledge of the medical practitioners on this practice, and we found that most, they don't know about it. They don't know a lot about this kind of practice, and some of them they were approached via email from different companies, which we call it SMLs, to help out. They offering to help out in writing your research or to help out in doing research for you. This is not including editors. Some editors are just helping in correcting the language and the structure of the manuscript, but they do not contribute to the findings itself. They just kind of fine-tuning the language and adjust the grammar mistakes and typographic mistakes. They are not considered as ghostwriters. Now we know the misconducts, how to compete these kind of misconducts or how to avoid them. We have, first of all, to give credit where credit is due. We have to learn how to give the credit to those who deserve the credit in everything in our lives, especially in research. And also we have to raise the awareness about these very crucial issues. And this lecture is part of raising the awareness. And I believe you are all ambassadors for research integrity after by conclusion of this talk, and also to improve the writing skills. Whenever no one is a scientific writer by default, they learn and everyone learn. And I'm pretty sure if the first manuscript is a difficult manuscript, and even the first sentence is the most difficult sentence in a manuscript. Whenever you write the first manuscript, you give it to one of your colleagues or your seniors, and they will help you out in improving the language, and you will learn by time. Lastly, nowadays there are several softwares and algorithms developed to detect similarities and to help out in minimizing the plagiarism. These kind of softwares are very commercially available. The first one is, we call it Turnitin. Turnitin is widely used in the Western universities. And there is Antibulge, which is also used by some universities. And there is the most appropriate one is the Authenticate, which is used by the editorial boards of the journals when they receive submissions from different researchers. These are different softwares commercially available, and they are every time they developing, and they review their softwares. Now Turnitin is doing a new version to discover if the manuscripts are, if the AI is used in writing any manuscript or not. This is how it looks like typically. All the softwares look like this. They have a submission box for submission of the text. You have to omit all the affiliation and all the information of the authors and the author list, and just put the body of the manuscript. And if there is figures and pictures or whatsoever, just attach them and press submit. It will give you the result like this, how similar and where you gather the information, and what was the percentage of that, and the entire percentage for this. This was my own manuscript. I did it a couple of years ago. It was 19.8, and I get back to it and improve the writing, and become less than 15, and alhamdulillah now published. Some journals they do accept up to 20, and some universities for master's degrees and PhDs they accept up to 20 percent, and some journals accept up to 20 as well. Some journals go down up to 15, and maybe some journals are very fussy and they just accept up to 10%. So because there are sometimes, there are some texts you cannot, they are inevitable. You cannot avoid using them, especially in the methodology part. And for instance, if you want to take blood sample, you will write 5 ml of venous blood were extracted from the participants. You will find this in hundreds, thousands of publications. Thank you. Shukran, Maryam. Yeah, you will find that in different, in thousands of publications. So you cannot avoid, unless you are very talented in scientific writing. For instance, you can, instead of saying 5 ml of venous blood were extracted from the participants, you can say blood samples were collected as mentioned elsewhere, or as mentioned by Umar, or as mentioned by Ayman and his and Ital. Before we conclude today's talk, now we are in the era of AI. We wanted to know the AI in research and scientific writing. What do we think about it? AI is a tool and can be used or abused. It might be very helpful in brainstorming, but not in reviewing, for sure, not in writing, for sure, because the AI is susceptible to what we call it IT hallucination. It gives you confidently wrong data because it gathered information from different sources, whether those sources are credible, whether they have credibility or not, or not having a credibility, whether they are reliable or not reliable. They just they collect information from different sources. And we know one of the foundation of good research is its credibility and novelty and originality. And this cannot be attained by the AI tools, if it is ChatGPT or DeepSeek or whatsoever. Also, there is bias. So that whatever you search a lot, they start giving you information about it. And even the AI itself is very smart. It knows if you wanted to know something about something, they will keep giving you whatever you like in order to please you. Also, AI cannot be held accountable. So we do not rely on something that cannot be held accountable. And that's why we assume that AI in scientific writing is not acceptable. And before we conclude, we are going to talk about something which is nowadays become an issue of concern for most of researchers, which is the predatory publications and predatory conferences, and the predatory publications or predatory journals are journals or publishers that lack a legitimate foundation or basic industry standards or sound peer review process. I've mentioned earlier that the peer review journals are considered golden standard because they went through the publication goes through tough critical appraisal from experts in the subject matter of the manuscript. These journals, predatory journals, they just present a seemingly legitimate face. The predatory journals, they just exploit the pressure of new early career researchers to publish. They publish whatever manuscript you give them for financial return without going through a tough or peer review process. So you will end up with a publication with a very compromised quality, and it's going to affect the entire scientific community. Likewise, there is predatory conferences where there is no clear theme. Those conferences are usually organized, not organized by institutions like professional bodies or societies or association like your respectful forum. And now you can organize under the name of Sudavas a conference in here or in Sudan or wherever. Because you are known, there is a Sudavas. Mr. Ayman is the chairperson for that. Mr. Awood is there. Mr. Umar. These are part of the executive committee of the Sudavas. So you can rely on that. So if whenever we wanted to publish, we have to see the editorial board of the journal, and we have to see who is under which umbrella is the journal and under which umbrella is the conference is organized, and that is a must before we go submit our work, because they don't even in the predatory publications they never tell you about the retraction policy, and they usually use personal emails for submission, Gmail or Hotmail or whatsoever. They don't have electronic gate for submission, and they have a lot of characteristic. For that, we collected all these characteristic in a checklist. I inshallah will send you in the amended copy of this presentation. In the PDF you can find, I will send you a QR code for the checklist for the characteristic of predatory publications, and there is a blacklist which is known as Bell's list. This is contains most of the predatory journals. This was constructed by Professor Jeffrey Pills from the United States, from the University of Colorado. He developed that list and start adding and building building on by listing all the predatory journals on that. Thank you so much. If you have any question, I will be very happy to take it.
Thank you very much, Professor Muaawia. This is really very informative, outstanding presentation, very valuable. And I think I will take that as a backbone for the next upcoming series of lectures in research methodology. I think this gives good foundation for understanding of research ethics and integrity, which is a new thing that's been now rising. I think, yes, Sulafa, I think she has a question, I think, been answered in your last slide about the AI and ethical consideration using AI. I think it was clear from the last slide, I think. I don't know if there is, I have a question here in my mind, or two questions. I know, like, you are working with clinicians. What do you think the most common most common mistake that all clinicians fall in your experience, like in here in Saudi Arabia or in Sudan? I know you have some connection, I think, as examiner in Sudan. So what is the most common? That's my first question. Common mistake. And the second question, do we have these bodies in Sudan like IRB in Sudanese like universities or institutions? Do you have the same setup or no? Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Dr. Omar. That's a very good question. To my best knowledge, none of the universities in Sudan have an ethical committee or IRB committee. However, I think the Minister of Health, they do have an ethical committee in the Ministry of Health. And as to the types of the most common type of misconducts that most of researchers, medical researchers fall on it. Here in Saudi Arabia, we do have usually conflicts in the authorship distribution between dispute between different authors in their rank in the author list after publication, and the other kind of misconduct we do, and some especially early career researchers, they do fall victims for publishing in predatory journals.
Thank you very much.
For instance, in Riyadh Second Health Cluster, I have organized more than 65 talks on this issue, and I can tell there is great improvement after having such talks on this very crucial issue.
Thank you. I think we have Dr. Yusuf Adam. He's just added some point. He said there is IRB in some of the universities in Sudan. I hope it should be good to know, and I think it should be everywhere. I think in all academic institutions should have IRB, but that's good to know. Thank you very much, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you. This is valuable information.
Thank you so much.
Anyone from the floor?
If I may come in. Hello.
Yes. أيوة اسمي سريع إبراهيم.
Sorry يا أخوانا.
تفضل
أيمن. Can I jump the queue because I'm about to board a flight? Yeah, quick question. Thank you very much for this very pleasant talk. Very, very useful and informative talk. A quick question about the use of AI, not in data, but in rephrasing or kind of write the paper itself. In other words, we do all the work, and obviously for the likes of us who are English language, not the first language, it's not going to be as brilliant as others. So, is that how do you classify this practice? Just having the AI rewriting the work.
Sorry, Mr. Ihab, I can't hear you well.
I don't know if somebody heard it very clearly. Mr.
Yeah,
Ihab,
I think I heard his question. I think he mentioned regarding the AI, if someone using AI for only rewriting the research, like basically to editing, exactly.
Editing, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, some people, they can see it's useful for editing or brainstorming, but not for writing the entire manuscript, or because there are several when you use AI for writing, when you see a text, any text written by AI, you can distinguish between what is written by AI or human, even with your naked eye. Because in the AI, they keep repeating some phrases and some words continuously, and you can see there is no human touches on that part of the text. So that's why people, they don't prefer to use AI even in rewriting. If in rewriting, you can choose the service of an editor, human editor, who you can learn from his editing, from helping you with whatever he edit to you. you can learn and you can improve your writing in future. But if you keep relying on AI, you will end up, it will deny you from improving your scientific writing.
Okay, we have a question from Ayman followed by Sadiq.
ايوه again I would like to يعني نشكرك Professor Muaawia على a very informative presentation. Thank you so much and for your time as well. My question is for our people in Sudan who are interested in conducting researches, and any resources or advices that you can give them to be able to again produce valuable researches. And لأنه عارفين إن إحنا research is the language of science في عموما يعني في the West world حتى في the East world. For any advices for our people, so any resources that they can use that can help them to keep up, and because there's a lot of people who are interested on the ground, like they lacking the resource and the mentorship as well.
I would say collaboration. Secret word here is collaboration. Is to conduct research with renowned institutions, and I'm pretty sure that there are in any discipline, in any scientific discipline, there are people who are eager to do some research with research teams in that part of the world, in Sudan especially. And we have to take the initiative and link them to liaise between our universities and our research teams in our universities or institutions with their counterparts in the Western universities. And I can see that can help a lot, because it will save time, energy, and money. Part of the research is very demanding and very consuming for money, and we don't have enough fund in the Sudan for research studies. And for instance, here in my own institution, we do have grants. They are given to anyone who have sound research proposal up to 250,000. You can get up to 2 or 3 studies. This is a fast track, and if you wanted something more than that, it will go to the CEO, and I'm pretty sure you will get at the end of the day, you will get the fund that is needed for conducting any research study. And sometimes up to millions. And we have the National Institute for Health here in Saudi, Saudi National Institute for Health, and Saudi NIH. They do grant more than up to 5 million riyals for any research study. And if they found that the research study is feasible and reviewers give high score for the study, they will just give the fund. And this is not available in the Sudan. So the best way is to do research through collaboration. We have to link our own teams, from where we are, and those who are in Saudi Arabia or in the West, in the UK or in Ireland or in the United States. You have to liaise between your own institutions in the West and your Sudanese counterpartners in order to build the capacities first and to help out in doing research. And I'm pretty sure we do have a lot of interesting problems that would be appealing for those for the researchers in the West, and they would wanted to do studies on that. The secret